So the big question is this: how do most agents who struggle to get the information that most successful agents hoard to themselves grow and prosper without this information? That's the big question, and this video cast is the answer. Welcome to Real Estate Rockstars. I'm your host, Pat Hyben. And now, for the review of the day. All right, I got a 5-star review from T.W. Buck. 1979 T.W. Buck says, I found a great show. I've been subscribed to many other real estate podcasts for a number of years. Doing a random search, I stumbled upon this one. There's lots of great content not found elsewhere. Take the State of the Market shows, weekly updates outlining the state of the market, educating listeners on the mainstream updates as well as the not so talked about angles that affect investors. Highly recommended. Only downside is the cut-ins to the commercials. A 2 to 5 second music intro or narration to cut in and out would be a welcome change. Keep up the great work, Pat. Thank you, T.W. Buck, and I have fixed that. I got a little now, so all good. Keep the comments coming, guys. I love them. And remember, I eat feedback for breakfast, so give me a 1-star review if you want, or a 5-star review if you want. I don't care. And the more reviews we get, the better guests we get. So please, subscribe first, and then leave us a review or wherever you're listening. All right, Rockstar Nation, I got a great guest coming from Vancouver, British Columbia. Mr. Leo Wilk is on the line. Leo, welcome to Real Estate Rockstars.
Thanks for having me, Pat.
Hey, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, Leo, so we can get to know you better?
Sure. So I technically started in real estate, let's call it 2007, 2008. I was in the pre-sale marketing world, so doing pre-sale sales. We were doing, condos, recreational properties. My first actual, Leo, this is your sales job, was in a recreational area called Peachland in British Columbia, and that was June, July 2008. So obviously, it didn't go well. So things really took a turn for me. I had to move back.
Define recreation. What do you mean recreational properties?
Well, so this project was attached to a Relais and Chateau hotel. So there was 20 really, really nice kind of manor homes on this bench land. So on this perch looking at the water. It wasn't waterfront, but the view was the lake. And what it is people buy those as second homes. So a lot of people from Alberta were buying there, but realistically, long story short, obviously summer 2008 happened. First thing to, feel it was the recreational side. And I think we sold one home. I never got paid from it. And I had to move back to Vancouver. I called my boss at the time and said, hey, I can't afford to be here anymore. I've got to go home and do something else. And they understood it because they saw that there was just nothing going on. So fast forward, I kept my license, got a couple jobs really quick, and just kind of got a lucky break where I got another phone call from someone who had, this was probably middle 2009. What they did is they packaged together a bunch of pre-sale condos from these big developers, and they just killed the prices. So I got on board with that, and then we started selling again. And then eventually when I got to I think late 2010, early 2011 when I decided to go on my own. And the main reason was I was selling these pre-sale projects, and I didn't believe in a lot of the stuff I was selling, but I still had to do it because the developer was my boss, and if I didn't sell, obviously it wouldn't work. So I got to a point where I called them and said, hey, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to go on my own. And a couple of them said, you'll be back. I said, fair enough, but I want to offer a little bit more service, and this is how I can see myself doing it. And then I've been on my own, since I guess early 2011 is when I became my own real estate agent company, let's call it. 2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
And okay, so let's go to today. How many houses have you sold in the last 12 months?
So give or take around 40, it's looking like right now. I don't track that stuff too good. I've got some off-market sales, so I just went to my MLS listings, but it's around 40 sales.
Okay. And what was your ECI, your ego commission on those 40 sales there?
So that's hovering around 600,000. I will say Canadian, just so everyone knows it's
good point, right?
$10,000 American or something like that. But no, it's it is Canadian dollars. But
what is it? What's
I
the?
don't even know what the rate is right now. I think you want to, I mean, I think I have to pay like almost 30% for American dollars or something right now. So whenever I go to the States, and I go often for vacation, it really adds a lot of cost to the trip, that's for sure. But it's not good for us. I'd be buying in Scottsdale right now if the dollar was a little closer.
Why are all the Canadians buying up? A friend of mine just bought a house in Scottsdale. Lives in Canada.
It's close. It's easy to get to, and it's golf. You know, we golf, right? So I love golfing. I love the homes out there. I love the lifestyle. It's healthy. You know, every time I go down there, I've got this trainer that I see and things like that. So it's just a really nice lifestyle there. You know, obviously it's not waterfront, which a lot of vacation properties are, but for us, we just look at it. It's quick to get to, and you can really rent the homes out when you're not there in Scottsdale, I find too.
So, guys, that's about $450,000. I just did a converter, so it's about 75%. Or 125%, however you want to look at it. But okay, cool. So, all right. So what'd you net, right? You made 600 or say 450 US.
Yeah. I tried to calculate as best I can, give or take, 5% each way. I have it around 80% is what I net. So costs, I run my costs pretty low.
What are you at a brokerage or you're on your own or what?
I'm not a brokerage, but we pay per deal, just a percentage. We don't have monthlies or anything like that.
Well, what's the percent you pay them?
6%. 6%
total
total per deal. Yeah,
and then 14% more in expenses plus that 6%.
Well, sorry, that 6% was after I paid them. So I get the numbers I was going off was after I paid my.
Oh, the 450 US or 600 Canada was after you've already paid your 6% franchise fee.
And all my other expenses for listings, marketing, all that stuff too. Again, I'm not the best at tracking this stuff. I'm really
so you probably made more like, okay. All right. So you probably made more like 700 grand Canadian or 500 US.
Oh yeah, I guess maybe yeah.
Subtract out. Okay. All right. Well, anyways, we get the point. So okay, so 40 deals, and what percentage are buyers? What percentage are sellers?
It's about 80-20, I would say. I'm starting to get a little bit more buyers, but I kind of my website and everything I do is marketed towards highlighting listings and marketing listings. So I think that's why I've got a little bit more
wow.
the listing side. Yeah.
Wow. So, okay. So we need to talk about this. This is good news. I mean, so where are you getting all your listings from?
Well, many sources, but my number one source is my own website, actually. So I went heavy on the online presence a long time ago, which is, I think in 2016, I spent every morning from 6 a.m. till 8 a.m. studying this book and implementing it into my website because I paid people so much money and they could never get it to where I wanted. I decided to do it on my own. So what that's turned into is I get a ton of organic online leads now. And for me, those have been the best leads other than obviously referrals and sphere of influence and all that stuff. But the online leads I'm getting straight to my website. So I'm not, I don't have other websites that just draw people in and we have to call them like a lot of people are doing. So the minute I get one of those leads, I jump on them right away. And that's probably 50% of my listings. And then the rest is repeat business because I've been at it for a while now. Referrals obviously are big, and sphere of influence, which is obviously a big thing too.
So how do you have a website that is targeting sellers? Because as you know, like 95% of all websites out there target buyers, right? People go to websites because they want to look at houses to see online. Sellers rarely go to, looking for an agent to list with. So how do you do that? How are you getting this?
I don't know, maybe it's different out here, but the majority of the online leads that get to my website are all people looking to sell. And I don't know, maybe it's just a little bit different, but
like why are they going to your website versus, any other real estate agent in Vancouver?
Yeah. Well, so if they Google, Vancouver realtor or whatever keywords we have initiated, I know they're talking to not just me, right? They'll probably meet 2 or 3 people. That's why I try to jump on them right away. So the minute I get an online lead, the first compliment I always get is like, wow, you replied fast. Because I try to call those leads instantly. And, if I can go and meet them within 24 hours, odds are no one else can act that fast. So that's how I do it. But I know they're talking to probably 2 other people. And I kind of have an idea who they are because I know who's got the better online presence in Vancouver. And, if they hit, it's funny too, because Google Maps, right? My grid that I have around our office, that's where you get a lot of your organic traffic. People just go online, they say Vancouver Realtor. If they're within, 10 kilometers, we have it. That's when I'll register to them. So I do a lot in a few certain areas based on that as well.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's talk about Vancouver, and it's kind of, I think you're the first guest from Vancouver. Had some
Oh,
maybe from surrounding areas, but
yeah.
you know, I know it's a funky place in that I was there. You guys had all this Chinese money coming in, right?
Yeah.
It was Asian money
Yeah.
coming in. People were just buying properties for cash, letting them sit empty. Can you
Yeah.
take us back to the beginning and tell us a story of what happened with that, and what's happened recently, what's happening now? You know, the whole thing.
Sure. So, I mean, it started becoming public, let's say in the media, 5, 6 years ago. There's always been international money here. And the media loves to target one thing. So they've obviously said Chinese money, but I've helped people from Russia, from Brazil, from wherever, people want to be in Vancouver. One, it's safe. Two, it's clean. A lot of countries, their money feels safer here than in our real estate than it does in their own banking system or whatever the case may be. So we help a lot of people just because they want to get here. The people from Brazil, they were just like, we don't want to be in our country. It's not safe. We want to come to where we feel safe, clean, things like that. So the media turned it into just the Chinese buyer. And you see that in most markets.
Yeah, but why? But why? Why Vancouver? I mean, you have some sort of incentive, right? Because they could have went anywhere. They could have went to U.S.,
yeah,
Canada. They could have went, millions of places.
our real estate was relatively cheap for Chinese buyers. When they put in perspective to where they're coming from. Again, safety, clean, beautiful scenery. So you were here, you saw, you can go skiing one day, finish off on your sailboat later, and then be sitting in the sun getting a suntan. So there's, you kind of got everything here, and we are, running out of inventory. So people are running out of space, I should say. So people really started buying. That was the main reasons they've told us. And again,
did they give them citizenship if they spent a certain amount of money there?
No, and that's kind of what's come up in the last few years is how come they're not paying income tax here on these properties. And that's, I think you just heard about the empty homes tax and the vacancy tax. That's what's now come up in the last.
Tell me about it.
So what it is if you have a home in Vancouver now and you don't rent it out because they say there's a rental crisis, or if you're just having it sit empty, you're going to get taxed for doing that. You're going to get fined if you don't, submit your declarations. If you're late, you're going to get a late charge on them. So it was really politically motivated, if you ask most people. And
why? Because there was all these nice houses just sitting empty and the grass was growing real high, and what was going on?
Yeah, so people were just saying, I can't afford a home because people with money are buying them and just letting them sit there.
Right, so the average guy
taking up the inventory. Exactly. And in Vancouver, I hate to say it.
Not using the inventory, just letting it
Well,
sit.
yeah, and I hate to say Vancouver, but most people can, the average person in Vancouver can't afford housing right now. It is very expensive here. And it's just one of those things where it got out of control, but when they reacted, it was just too late. We went through a 4 or 5 year appreciation of like 30 to 40% on most places. So the funny thing is that the Chinese buyer, they did make up a small portion of our market, but the portion that they really made up a lot of buying was in the high end market. So let's say, I think we had it at 3 million plus. They were buying a lot of it. So the guys in West Vancouver, that was the predominant buyer.
So wait a minute, when you say 30-40% a year,
not a year, sorry. For the last 5 years, it went up about 30-40%.
Total.
Yeah.
What's up, brokers, team leaders, office managers, and rainmakers of teams? I got a question for you today. What are the two most frustrating things about running a real estate team? The two things that cause you more headaches than anything else. Think about it. The brokers I've talked to have all given me the same answer: recruiting and retention. If you're in the same boat, if nothing you've tried seems to work, I've got some good news. Your problem finding, recruiting, and retaining high-quality agents are about to be over. I'm launching my new Retoot course, a course that provides an in-depth, first-ever look at the recruiting and retention secrets of the industry's top recruiters. To kick off Retoot's launch, I'm offering the course along with 2 other high-value items at a super low price to podcast listeners. Since I'm throwing in 2 free items with my Retoot Secrets course, I'm going to simply call it my 1-2-3 discount package. Okay, so let me talk to you about the 1-2-3 discount package. In addition to Retoot, you're going to get a subscription for each of your teammates or anybody in your office to my Big Profit weekly jackpot emails, which are basically agents from around the world giving advice on how to increase your profit on a daily basis in this business. If your agents put these effective, easy to implement tips to use, their sales and most importantly, their profits will improve. Plus, I'll provide you with a year's worth of monthly sales meetings, content to have at your sales meeting so you don't have to struggle figuring out what to say to your agents or your team. I'm calling it my Lunch and Learn sales training series. That's an entire year's worth of sales meetings that you won't have to plan and that your agents are guaranteed to get massive value from. So to recap, purchasing the 1-2-3 discount package gets you 1, my brand new Retoot course, 2, my Big Profit Agents weekly jackpot emails for everybody in your office, and 3, a year's worth of Lunch and Learn training sessions. If you want this limited time package, act fast and go to hibandigital.com/123. Real easy, hibandigital.com/123. So 6% a year for 5 years, roughly. Something like that.
Yeah.
So
it really,
so you bought a house for $1 million. It's worth $1 million. It's worth $1.3 million, $1.4 million 5 years later.
That's fair. Yeah.
Okay.
It has come down a little bit now, but the appreciation it was so fast and no one saw it coming that now it caused a lot of anger because now a lot of people are priced out of the market, right? Even more so.
And it was supply and demand, and that the demand all of a sudden was sudden. People are like, put your money here, it's safe. And I guess the government, I'm sure there's other reasons, other political reasons why you would put your money there versus somewhere else. And then so that all the prices got jacked up. Now, how's it doing now? Like, are prices starting to come down? They still going up? What's going on?
No, so they're leveling off a little bit right now. So, again, in the higher end markets, they've come off a little bit more. Some people are saying 5 to 10%. In the condo market, they've leveled off a little bit, but we're not noticing that 10%. But we are, I've sold some homes this year, and I said, hey, they said, what's my price? I tell them, they get mad at me because last year it was worth more. I said, I get it. Last year it was worth this, but now you're here. But the good news is, what did you buy? Oh, you bought it in 2010. You still made a ton of money. It's just not as much as you once did. And timing it perfectly is almost impossible.
And how many of these empty houses that foreigners, have bought are still in existence?
Yeah, they're trying to track it right now and get the numbers out there. I've never really believed that whole story. I think there are some empty homes, don't get me wrong. But again, if you've got a $3, $4, or $5 million empty home, I don't care. Right? Neither does 99% of the market out there. But that's the funny thing is every time they put these new initiatives in place, what we found is the prices of the lower end stuff. I mean, I don't want to call it lower end when you're buying, $700,000, $800,000 one bedroom. We've seen those prices steadily increase. And even when we thought it was going to drop this year, we're starting to see sales are picking up again. And again, once you get to a better price point, it is helping. The biggest thing that changed our market was the bank. So they raised rates. They made it much more difficult to get mortgages, which is not a bad thing. We don't want to go through anything like that again. So I'm not.
What they like? What's that mean? Like they raise it from what to what?
Where are we at right now? And every time I call my mortgage broker, we can't get ideas because it's so different for everyone. But I think we're hovering. I mean, on the high side, you're looking at 5%, but some people are still in the 3s, I would say. But on top of that, the biggest problem that we found it wasn't a problem. They introduced what's called the stress test. And the stress test was you actually have to qualify for much more than your actual mortgage is going to be. I can't remember the exact number right now, but say you wanted a $700,000 mortgage, you actually needed to qualify for like $850,000 or $900,000, and a lot of people couldn't get those mortgages. That's what really, I hate using the word cool, but it balanced our market out. And now the banks are already saying, well, guys, we're going to start coming down on our rates a little bit. It looks like they're already smartening up because they attacked their own industry, right? They're not making money anymore.
Yeah, well, that's fascinating. Very fascinating. Yeah.
So whole different world, but it's definitely, we've had a lot of quick changes happening in Vancouver these days. That's for sure.
Yeah. And a lot of, and from what I was talking to a local guy, a lot of people are, they'll send their kids to college there, right? From other countries. And
we have a great schooling system here. Exactly.
Is it free if you live there? I mean, there's a
No,
benefit?
you have to pay for it. Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's cheap,
They're
right?
just good schools. Probably cheaper than
Trade schools,
elsewhere.
yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then they were just sending their children there and living in these big houses, driving these really expensive cars, and they're only like 19, 20 years old.
Exactly. So that, and yeah, there was a couple stories, Ferrari outside of the mansion, and what's your job on title? Student, right? So we saw a lot of that, but I don't know. I always have this theory: if you can afford, or your family can afford to buy you a $4 million home while you're going to school, you're allowed to do that, right?
Oh
It's not
yeah, right.
criminal to do that. So that's the problem. Is people thought it was criminal in Vancouver to own real estate. It's just kind of, we've had a pretty big again, the media cause, political cause, and there's some locals who are angry, and it's understandable.
Well, I read an interesting statement the other day. It said the only reason why a human being hates another human being, the only reason is it stems from the one having something that the other one doesn't have.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's like Instagram right now is like realtors. For lack of better words, it's just contests between realtors on there. I find half the time, just listed, just sold. And my big thing was I've got someone running my Instagram for the most part now, so I don't have to look at it all the time. My life's got so much better because I'm not worried about other people. I'm just kind of focused on myself now, which is nice.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So what else are you doing specifically to like get business?
So again, yeah, number one is my website again. So that's organic results. I used to do Google AdWords a lot. Again, I had a couple of books that I taught myself how to do this. I turned off my AdWords about, I want to say 2 years ago now, to test if my organic results were going to work, and they have, so I haven't turned them back on. I probably will eventually. Obviously, referrals are number one for most agents. I do get a lot of referrals, and that stems from, just providing a good service for the clients I work with. Referrals, sphere of influence. My sphere of influence is funny. So my friends and family, it was actually really hard for me to get business off them when I first started because where I came from, I wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, I'll say about myself. And it took me a while to crack that market. So I do a lot for friends now, not too much family, but friends. And that, I'll consider that referral based as well.
Was that in your head, or was that real like that you would call people and be like, hey, I'm in the business? And they're like, well,
and I understand it.
I'm not sure you're going to succeed. I mean, did someone come out and say that to your face?
Well, it's just more, did
you have a checkered past? I mean, did you what?
It wasn't a bad past, but yeah, I got a little bit later start in life. I would say I went to college a bit later after everyone. So I wasn't a total screw up. But when I got into business, it was after I went to school, and real estate is very important for people. So when you have someone who's new, a couple of years in the business, they're still like, oh, I don't know, business decision, I have to go this direction. And luckily, I kind of like it, and I always. Pardon my language here, but I always say to new agents, they're like, what's your number one advice? I go, just get ready to get shit on, because you're going to lose some business. You're going to have friends who are not going to use you, and it's going to hurt, but you got to take that and you got to use that for the better and learn from it. And just, I see so many realtors who have been in the business for 20 years and they, a friend uses me, and I get a call saying, this guy just called me and ripped me a new one for an hour. I'm like, wow, what is he thinking? Like, that means he's never, right? So I hear that a lot, where I was able to just move forward from it. I learned a lot, and now I get a lot of that because they see that I do good work out there. So again, I don't think it was all in my head. Maybe it was a little bit, but it was a hard network to crack for me. But now it's all good.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a lot of juggling, right? You're doing 3 to 4 deals a month, so you're pretty busy. Like what sort of technology do you use currently, whether it's apps or software, that sort of thing, that's helping you, that's helping you skim time?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's funny. The number one thing I use on my phone is the reminders. So about 100 times a day, I hit Hey Siri, and I say, remind me to do this at this time. Remind me to do this at this time. So my to-do list is on my phone now. Used to be on paper, and I called myself the king of writing down to-do lists, but I never do anything because I have 6 different to-do lists all over. So now it's on my phone, and when I show people this, they actually really like it, because I'm, as a realtor, you're driving a lot. So whenever I'm driving, I just go, hey Siri, remind me to call this person at, in 2 hours, or tomorrow, or Thursday, whatever the case may be. And I found that's really helped me.
So you'll literally say, you'll talk to somebody and they're like, we're going to sell, but not till the summer. And you'll say, hey Siri, remind me to call, Frank Klevitz at June 3rd at 1 o'clock.
Yep. And then I do a lot of that. Yeah. And then so ironically, we just implemented a database this year, and I was going off Excel spreadsheets forever, which was a huge mistake. What happened is I got to a point where I was so busy, I just couldn't get things organized. And since hiring someone, I've had someone working with me now for half a year. A little bit more than that, actually. She had come from a different realtor, and I said, "What database do you use?" And she said, "This one." I said, "Buy it, pay for it, and just please get it going."
What is it?
It's called RealVolve.
Yeah,
It's
RealVolve. Yeah,
pretty.
I've
Yeah,
had people on
I
the show.
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I don't do the automated stuff. I don't do the flow charts. I literally just use a database to. I try to do all my own follow up. Right. I don't send mass emails to my database. I don't do any of that. I never have. And once in a blue moon, maybe I'll send out one email a year that hey, I've got a partner now, or whatever the case may be down the road. But I just use it as ranking people, when to follow up. So on top of the iPhone, I have it in the database too when I need to contact people, birthdays, anniversaries, things like that. So now we're starting to get into that stuff a little bit more as well. And it was funny because going through my database, and this is good advice for people, is I was putting people in and I was like, oh my gosh, I have not spoke to this person for 7 years. I'm like, I guarantee they've sold or they've bought.
Jeez, yeah.
And luckily they haven't too much. And there was a couple people that bought or whatever. And I said, you know what, good. You deserve to buy with someone else. I wasn't doing my job properly anyways. Luckily though, again, it comes back to, I focus my business on pure customer service. So as far as, getting listings and when I service them or working with buyers, and a lot of people still, I thought this guy's for sure sold. It's been 7 years and they haven't. And I check in with them like, oh, good to hear from you. Yeah, we're still here. We'll talk to you, a couple of years, we're ready to go. So I got pretty lucky in that case.
I want you to think about the word toolbox. What is a toolbox? A toolbox is a box full of tools that you use to build something great. At Real Estate Rockstars, we've created our own free toolbox. So everybody that comes on the show as a guest brings a tool with them, and we plow them all into this toolbox, and we give it away for our viewing audience to basically use as they wish. Everything we put in there is an actionable item that can be downloaded, can be printed, can be used immediately. And we got things like scripts and dialogues, checklists for teams, checklists to keep agents accountable, referral forms that are filled out at settlement to get referrals by your buyers and sellers. Everything you could think of that you could use on a regular basis about real estate is included in this toolbox. And it's helping agents worldwide sell more houses and make their jobs a lot easier and processes much more efficient. And the thing is, it's absolutely free. All you got to do is go to hibandigital.com/toolbox or text the word toolbox to 444-999. That's toolbox 444-999. Do it now. Hey, real estate agents and rock stars. If you're getting value out of the content in this episode, make sure you like the video and subscribe to this channel. Also, click the little bell icon to be notified about upcoming episodes. And I would also love it if you left a comment and shared the most impactful tips and tactics you've learned from the knowledge shared in this episode, or even maybe make a suggestion requesting a topic of what you'd like to learn in future episodes. I welcome any feedback below. Now, back to the episode. So Leo, tell me about your time management. Like, how do you block time? What do you do? Like, what's your average day of Leo look like?
Yeah. So my time management skills actually came from reading The Shift again. I've always been pretty organized, but I read The Shift, I think it was last year in December. And as we get busier, I said, okay, I'm going to try something new. So they had this time blocking chart. I don't even know if I got it from them, but that book gave me the idea because our market was shifting. So I said, hey, this is the perfect book to read again right now. So my day, typically I get up pretty early. I like to get up between 5 and 5:30. I read that book, The Miracle Morning, and just kind of got on the train there. So I like to get up between 5 and 5:30. I slam a bunch of water with lemon or salt or whatever in it. Tried meditating this year. I actually really like it. I do only about 5 to 10 minutes. I don't road rage on the way to the office or anything anymore, I'm finding. So I test, we have bad traffic in Vancouver, so I test that to the meditating. That's the only thing I can think of. If I check my phone before meditating, I can't even do it. So my big thing is like,
that's a big one, right? Yeah.
Do not look at my phone for, at least until 7 a.m. if that's the case. Okay. Usually I'm going to the gym somewhere between 7 and 8, sometimes 6:30 if I'm working out on my own. But I go to yoga. I do this kickboxing. I try to work out as much as I can. And then by the time I'm done the workout, I feel so good after. If you know, everyone knows if you work out early in the morning, you feel so good going into the day. And then I typically get to the office, anywhere between, let's say, 8 to 9. And then the first hour is kind of just getting everything prepped again, talking to, I'll call her my assistant, but she's so much more than that. We're trying to invent a new word for her right now, and she knows that. But talk to her, get everything organized.
You could start out by going executive assistant or
well, I told her
of
ground
staff
control
or
something better than assistant, because she doesn't do, I don't get her to do my pick up dry cleaner or do anything stupid like that. Everything
director of operations. Yeah.
There you go. And she's going to be or she's just got licensed, so now she's going to be working on getting business too, which is great. So talk to her for a little bit, pretty much catch up on emails, all these odds and ends I need to do. And then I try to make lead generation 10 to 12 every day. What I found is Mondays that became impossible, so I've pushed it a little bit because Mondays are just so many things to do, I find. So Tuesday to Friday, 10 to 12, I try to do lead generation. Again, I don't even love that word because I hate calling clients. I don't call myself a salesperson, so I've got a lot of things that, the wording I'm using is a little bit different. I call my clients my friends, and it's funny because my girlfriend bugs me all the time. She's like, "You think everyone you work with is your best friend?" I'm like, I get sad when I don't talk to them anymore after the sale's done or after I've helped them buy. So
what is psychology though? I mean, that's a great psychology, right?
Yeah.
So you don't call anyone you're working with clients, customers, nothing. You call them friends.
I
love the psychology behind that.
Yeah, I don't like calling them clients. I feel uncomfortable, and the biggest insult you can call me is a salesman. Like, I just do not like that word. I do not like being sold. I don't like selling people.
And you want them to call you a friend? Yeah.
Yeah, friend, or I focus on customer service. So I say I'm service orientated. Marketing and customer service. And when the whole transaction's done, everyone gets it. They're like, wow. Like, I send them all these to-dos, and I'm very organized. Every time something happens, I've got my own little flow chart of, okay, we're going to send them this to-do email next. We're going to send them the documents. By the time that, whether they're buying or selling, by the time that they're moving into, let's call it a condo, it's a little bit more difficult to move into. They know who to call to book the elevator. They know what, they pretty much know from A to Z what they need to do, and they love it because they're like, Leo, like, you just made this so much easier. And then I don't need to ask for a referral. If someone's looking to buy, typically they'll be like, hey, Leo, this guy's looking to buy, give him a call. So I just go and do it, because I really don't ask. I don't have it on my email signature. I don't ask for referrals. They just come naturally based on service, and that's kind of how I pride myself.
So, Leo, how do you beat an agent that, let's say there's an agent that's been in business 20 years, has got a giant team and tons of advertising, and, when you Google their name, there's tons of shit that shows up. Like, how does Leo beat them on a listing appointment?
Well, the way I focus on it is I call myself the no team when I meet a client, and they go, what are you talking about? Okay. The no team. I go, I've got people in place to help me. I've got, an assistant who's more than that. I've got 2 gentlemen who help me with open houses, but they're the same people all the time, and I pay them to do those.
Random agents or something.
Yeah, they aren't random. We don't send. These are the same guys. They're informed on the listing. I go, the reason I have those people in place is so that I can be here right now. When the showing comes to your property, I don't have a showing agent. A lot of agents are like, oh no, I have a showing agent, but on the second showing, I'll be there. I'm like, yeah, right. A lot of people are buying it on the first showing anyway. So I say to my client, I go, I've got these people in place as a team, yes, but it's so I can be here today, so I can be at your open houses. I go, I would lie to you if I can be at every single one, but if we plan it in advance, it should work. I do try to take time off as well when I'm out of town, things like that. And when it comes to showings, I do my own showings. I want to be there. Again, if I can't do the showing, I tell them, I go, just so you know, I'm not doing the showing. Chantel is, but she knows everything about your place too.
But the majority of the calls that you get on your cell phone, like, what ring do you pick them up on?
Oh, an incoming call?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's right away. So all my websites go to my personal cell phone. I've separated my my business number to my personal number, so agents only call my business number. So that number's out there, so because
that's like what's in MLS or whatever.
Exactly, and I noticed, the biggest time wasters out there are other agents. So I realized that, a couple of years ago, got a different cell phone line, and my assistant actually has it now. So I don't have that phone Monday to Friday.
So the agents go to the assistant.
Yeah.
On the weekday, and then any buyer or seller automatically goes to you.
Yeah, because my personal cell phone's on.
No, I like that.
So they come to
pick it up on a half of a ring every time.
Oh yeah, and I mean, that's, I said, the incoming, when I get an incoming lead on my website, I call them like I'll drop whatever I'm doing, run outside and give them a call, because I know that if I get them right away, I get it all the time, like, wow, You called fast. They go, yeah, I always will. Don't worry. Like, I'll always pick up your call. It's kind of, once we have a listing or a buyer too, we set up a group chat with my work line, my line, and their line, so that my assistant, she's booking all the showings with agents. She has my schedule on both phones. She's able to just coordinate everything, and I'm always in the loop, right? So I'm always knowing what's going on.
Oh, so sort of like an email, but it's a text, and you just see she sent a text from the business cell.
Yeah.
You know, and you can just read through if you want to. You can spend 10 minutes reading through the business cell text.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And she's,
great.
you know,
And
it just made it a little bit easier on me. And, you know, I tell her, I say, when it's 7, sometimes she'll message me at 9 at night for stuff. I'm like, no. I'm like, this guy's message you at 9, you answer him tomorrow. I go, I don't want you, you know, if a realtor is messaging you at 9 p.m. for a showing at 10 a.m. the next day, he's dropped the ball or she's dropped the ball somewhere. So don't reply to them until the next day. Cause I've learned the hard way. I've crashed and burned a few times as far as energy wise. And I've learned to make sure I don't do that again. And whenever I can feel a burnout happening, I just get up and leave town and, you know, like I said, go to Scottsdale or something like that.
So, you know, someone getting into the business today, what advice do you give a brand new agent getting into business today?
I always say, you know, join a team or get a mentor, however you want to do it. Even if you just aren't part of the team, at least you're near them. You know, mentors obviously charge mentoring fees now, and I'm getting approached a lot with that. And it's funny because I feel uncomfortable taking people's money, but I said to them, if you want to, you know, I'll meet you every day. I'll train you every day if you want, but I need to be compensated because that's taking up a lot of my time.
You mean a mentor will get like 10%, half of your first commission, 25%,
yeah,
and 10% of your third.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you know.
Exactly. So it depends who you're dealing with. Yeah. So joining a team's pretty good. You know, you'll learn a lot. I wish I joined a team when I first started. I feel like I probably could have even further than I am today. But I'm also glad I didn't because I had to self-teach myself everything, and it's kind of gotten me to where I am. So it's kind of, you know, you never know what would have happened the other direction. But I say join a team, maybe get a mentor. And I even say to them, look, I'll sit down with you I'll meet you for coffee once a week if you want, just to talk for free and give you ideas. And it's funny, I sat down with this guy the other day and he said, you know, he's struggling. He's been in the business 2 years. He hasn't really worked. And I said, well, here's 5 things. Go do these today. Yeah. He went and did them. Finally, I've told him this before and he didn't. And he finally went and did them. He's like, oh my God, I got a listing appointment on Monday. I go, well, exactly. I go, it's not rocket science. I go, it's not going to work every time, but I go, as long as you're working, something's going to come to you. What, you know, if I'm working on my website, I don't, the secret, all that stuff. I go, if I'm working on my website, I get leads. All of a sudden I get an email from someone else. I'm like, well, it's because I'm putting it out there that I'm working hard. People know that I'm, 9 to 5, I'm in the office typically, or at least I'm working, which is why I email people back right away. When it comes to people I'm working with, as far as buyers or sellers, I respond to them hyper fast because I know how important it is to them. Because when I'm buying anything, if I ask someone a question, I want to know right away. And the people who get back to me right away, whether it's cars or whatever, clothes or whatever the case may be, the minute someone gets back to me right away, like, ooh, I like this guy, I'm going to use him, right? Just based on response rate.
Yeah, right. Yeah, of course.
And one of the guys working with me right now, I was getting really, really busy. Was it 3 years ago, 2 years ago? We were just slammed, and I didn't even have an assistant at the time, and I was dying. And he wrote an offer on a listing I had, and I would, I'd email him, and he'd get back to me right away. And then I'd send him the counter. He'd get me the counter back right away. And I was like, ooh, this guy's actually, he's pretty good. He's pretty fast. He's pretty efficient. And I said, hey, can you work for me for a bit? And I'll pay you per deal. And I paid him pretty good because it was like just jumping right into the mix, open houses, showings, all that stuff. So I appreciate when people get back to me right away. So I know that my clients, when they ask a real estate question, we're dealing with our average price points over, my average price point, let's say, is about 1.1 as far as selling price. And that's a big deal for most people, right? So when they ask me a question, I get back to them right away. The only time I don't respond to them is when I'm sleeping, and I tell them I go to bed around.
That's how you beat them. That's how you beat them, because the agents that have been in business a long time, have big teams. They don't like picking up the phone. They don't like, they spend their whole lives trying not to talk to clients.
So
you know what I mean. So
yeah, and that's sort of the longest answer you've ever had about how do you beat a big agent with a big team. But
that's good.
What I do is I pride myself on the fact that you're meeting me today, you're going to see me tomorrow, you're going to see me at your opens, you're going to see me doing the showings. I go, in any contract that comes in, you're talking to me. I go, you're not going to, it's like, hey, we got an offer, you're going to deal with someone else to negotiate. No, it's always going to be me, and they do appreciate that.
That's awesome, dude. All right, Leo. Well, this has been great, buddy. Why don't you tell us about your free gift? As you know, everybody that comes on the show brings a free gift, an item of utility that all of our Rockstar Nation can listen to and use, actually print out, use, put on their cork board, whatever, on a daily basis. What did you provide today?
So I've got three things in there. So when I get a new listing, a lot of times I send out a new listing mailer. And what it is, people send those postcards and they're little postcards. So when I saw that, I said, well, I'm going to make a bigger one. So I've made a bigger postcard. And what I do is I focus on the listing only. So the first mailer that goes out is only about the listing. It's about open house invites or whatever the case may be. So I send that out to, I think we try to average around 1,000 homes or whatever the case, or condos if it's a condo. And then after the home sells in Vancouver, luckily things sell pretty good here. I usually send a just sold mailer, and the just sold mailer is then more focused on, hey, call me for evaluation, call me to talk about real estate, so on and so forth. And it's funny because I know I talked about only online stuff most of this time, but the mailer still works. So I do send mailers out quite often. That's how I started my business. So I continue doing that. And then I've also attached my time blocking chart. It's empty. But if someone wants to talk to me about how to fill it up and what to do and structure, I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean, you basically just told us on the show how to fill it out. If you want to follow him, just listen to the show again and fill out this blank chart. So we're going to put all of these things, guys, at hibandigital.com/Leo Wilk, and it's LEOWILK. That's LEOWILK. hibandigital.com/Leo Wilk, and you can also find him on his show notes. I'm going to put all of his contact information if you have a referral to Vancouver, British Columbia, or you just want to say hi and follow him on Instagram or whatever. And I'm also going to put it in the Agent Success Toolbox, which can be found on hibandigital.com/toolbox, or simply texting the word toolbox to 444-999. Leo, this has been a blast, buddy. Anything you want to leave us with?
No, I guess, if I guess for a lot of new agents out there, if you're just starting, just put in the work. Show up at the office. There's usually free desk space. Get around people who are working. See what they're doing, and just put it in, and it'll come back to you. It's not easy. I'll tell you that
much. It's simple. But it's not easy. Brilliant. All right, boss. Well, listen. Have a great day, and I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to come on the show today.
My pleasure, Pat. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Real Estate Rockstars. If this free content is giving you a ton of value, I want to ask a small favor in return. I need you to pull out your pointing finger and hit the subscribe button. Yes, hit subscribe, please. The more subscribers that we get on Real Estate Rockstars, the better guests are attracted to the shows. We'll get more guests from the top companies, from the top teams, and even more celebrity guests like Robert Kiyosaki and Barbara Corcoran. Also, if you're not a member of our free Facebook group, go to Real Estate Rockstars Radio right on Facebook and join the conversation. I'm on there myself on FaceTime Lives, and we have a lot of communications and questions about the show, and I'd love to see you there. And it's free. People ask me all the time, where am I on social media? I'm real easy to find. Just type in my name. My IG is I am Pat Hyben. It is blowing up on Instagram, adding tons of subscribers, and I'm on there probably twice a day. So definitely follow me on Instagram, as well as everywhere else. Thanks again for listening, and keep rocking.